Do you think that you can teach timing, or do you think it's just an innate skill?
I mean, just like music, there are some people who have it, are born with it, and some people can have it beat into them.
It's another episode of Comedy on 11. I'm Thom Tran, and this week my guest Samantha Hale pops by virtually for a chat about comedy and music in horror movies. She doesn't live that far away, but I needed to be forced into figuring out how to use this new recording system remotely, and I kind of figured it out. Anyway, a bunch of stand-up comedy dates are online. Check my website, thomtran.com, for all the details. Thanks to all of my new subscribers. I know most of you are here because of that one joke that I put online that went viral a few weeks ago, but thanks anyway. Remember to check out my other show, The Story Behind the Strings, where I go in-depth into my guitar collection. It is also on this channel. Thanks a bunch, and now let's hit it.
Comedy and music. It's like when they put Freddie and Jason together in a movie, and people were like, is this going to work? And then you're like, oh no, this worked. This worked just fine. How are you?
Totally. I'm good, and there's no clear winner.
No, there is no clear winner. This is Comedy on 11, the show where I talk to my comedian friends about comedy and music. I'm Thom Tran. I am here with my guest, the very funny Samantha Hale. Hello, friend.
Hello, friend. Thanks for having me. There's a violin lamp behind me. That's kind of perfect.
I love how your camera is just moving with us.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm like, should I turn that off? I don't know. It's bizarre.
No, that's fine. We can leave that. It'll give it production value, as if we actually have a camera person here.
We do. We do. We both have tabby cats doing this.
Well, thanks for coming on. First of all, there's nothing better than having a guest in studio, but I thank you for making me do this remote, because it forced me to go, all right, I got to figure this out. And if you could see the spaghetti pile of cables on my desk right now, it's a mess. It's a hot mess. But I have this brand new switcher system that's cool. It's just, boy, there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
That is my gift. That's my gift to you. Spaghetti wires.
Thank you. This is a fun episode, especially because you're such a horror nerd. And one of the things about horror is the atmosphere, the ambiance, the flavor of the scene. Let's talk about your love of horror first. And then we'll get into the music of it. How did horror become a thing for you?
As a kid, this camera is so weird. It's like the killer, like moving along with me right now. I feel like, am I a final girl? So I grew up watching this stuff with my dad.
That's great parenting. You're the second.
I know. I'm gonna have a bit about how, like, my parents got a divorce and my mom moved out, and my dad was like, yeah, now's the time for a child murdering clown. So he let me watch it when I was 8. And it was pretty terrifying. Like, I should have wound up in therapy because of that movie. Tim Curry is so amazing in that film that it really messed me up. And I tried watching it. So I was like 8. I think I tried watching it when I was 10. I had nightmares for like another 2 years. Tried watching it when I was like 12. Still had nightmares for like 6 months. I think I tried watching it again when I was like 13 or 14. And because Pennywise had like put me through such trauma, I remember watching the screen and being like, you clown, you ruined my childhood. I'll kick your ass. Like, I was so angry, and now I love that movie. Now I can watch it no problem, and I just love it.
Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Tim Curry, or the
I'm sorry,
the remake?
Is that a question? Sorry, is that a question? 100% Tim Curry, like 1,000%. The new one, okay, so the new Stephen King one, it's more sticks to the book, which is kind of cool. I love the kids in the new one. I thought the kids did a great job. But the clown, I mean, I thought that Skarsgård did a great job, but it was just a little too CGI for me. It was a little too cartoony.
Yeah.
I like 80s, 90s practical effects. I will always choose a practical effect over anything CGI, because like if you look at The Exorcist, the reason why it still holds up, it's because it's all practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that like kind of really bad early special effects that the people had? It was all actual, so I'm always for puppets and practical. But what I love about Tim Curry was I felt like there was this really seedy, creepy human character to the clown. He was just like that fucking creepy guy at a bar. who would just be looking at you wrong, you know? We've all seen that guy at a bar with a voice like that. And so and that's for me what didn't work as well with the newer version, even though I understand it was more accurate to the book, but
Right. And if
not
you've
the
never
original.
seen that guy at the bar, you're probably that guy at the bar looking
Exactly.
creepy to
100%.
women. And it's funny that Tim Curry is like such the embodiment of Pennywise the Clown because did you know that he was the original voice of the Joker in the Batman the Animated Series?
Oh my God, did I not know that? Maybe I didn't.
He filmed, well, he recorded. It was an animated show, so he didn't film anything. But he did the original voice of the Joker in the Batman animated series with Kevin Conroy in the first couple of episodes. But I think he got sick or something, and then Mark Hamill replaced him. Of course, Mark Hamill became the voice of the Joker throughout the series. But there are a couple of episodes that you can actually hear Tim Curry's laugh as the
That's
Joker.
so cool. Okay, I know what I'm doing immediately after we're done with this podcast. But the other cool clown Joker connection is David Howard Thornton, who plays Terrifier. I don't know if you've seen the Terrifier films.
I haven't
They're
know.
so messed up. Dear Lord, they're just so bloody and so over the top. But Art the Clown, like he's a mime and the actor David does such an incredible job. And the funny thing is David's like one of the nicest people on the planet. Like he's amazing. But his like dream, he wants to play the Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's his big like because he's just like this super cool nerdy guy in
Mhm.
real life who likes comic books and different characters. And so I think that is going to happen. I think he already did or he's going to. It's going to be amazing.
Well, there's another comedian in our cohort who plays the Joker now. Jeremiah Watkins plays the Joker in one of like the like DC kids animated shows.
That's so perfect for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, when I heard him do that I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that works.
that's disturbing. That's a little creepy."
Yeah. I just saw a clip of Jeremiah doing something. Who was he with? Forget what it was, but he was playing like an Apple guy who was trying to make it so that white people could sing along to rap. And so it was like an app that would just change.
I
It's
saw
pretty,
that.
I was like, wait, what? How does this guy's brain work?
Yeah, he
Like,
plays like a Steve Jobs character
yeah, yeah.
and it replaces, and if you haven't seen the clip, it was is Jeremiah Watkins. I think he was with Adam Ray while Adam was
Yes.
doing the
Dr. Phil.
Dr.
That's what
Phil
it was.
thing,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah, yeah.
basically an app where AI will replace the N word with the word ninja. So when white people rap along,
Yeah.
it will say ninja instead of the other N word, and it's very funny. And when you watch it, you're like, oh no, where's this gonna go? You can see Adam's face going,
Going like, whoa.
yeah,
Yeah.
what is happening? Where's this gonna go?
Yeah. But I love when that happens. I love when you have like a panel of there were some pretty solid comics behind him and they all had the look of, oh no, oh no. And then when they figured it out and oh okay, it's actually pretty funny. Um, yeah, that was great.
So mimes or clowns, which one is more frightening to you?
Ooh. Ooh. I don't know. Mimes, I guess. I mean, at least clowns will tell you they're gonna kill you.
Yeah, that's true. Mimes, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, like are you a good mime or a bad mime?
I think in general, all mimes are bad mimes. I don't,
Probably.
I can't, I don't know if,
Actually, I remember my mom telling me a story about how when she was in high school, do you know, there's a very famous mime, I believe his name was like Marcel Marceau or
right?
something like
I
that.
know. Yep.
He came to her high school. How cool is that?
That's frightening.
Yeah.
What?
So mimes, I'm going with mimes.
Okay. So the question I had in the beginning was, you love horror, and part of horror is the the emotion and the setting and everything set up to, frighten you. How important do you think music is to, the horror genre? It's not just obviously the slasher or psychological, but it's, the ambiance and the environment of all that. How important do you think music is to the horror genre?
Well, imagine Psycho without the violins. Imagine the shower scene without the strings. Um, Probably one of the coolest things I got to do is a few years ago, like for Halloween time, I went to go see a screening of Psycho with a full live orchestra. in this
Ooh.
big, beautiful theater downtown. And it was cool. It was really cool. Um, I mean, I think, yes, when we think horror scores, there's oftentimes like, kind of high pitched notes like strings and or like scary cellos. I mean, imagine Jaws without a cello.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Right.
Actually,
What if it was Jaws with like the Benny Hill theme song? And
different movie. Exactly. Well, the funny thing is, so I'm like, I love sharks. I actually, and I love Jaws, but we're all like, God damn it, Jaws, you made people hunt shark. Like shark got a bad rap because
yeah.
there's no such thing as a rogue shark. That's been disproven. Like
Mhm.
a shark is not going to hunt down your family in Jaws 4 to get revenge. You know what I mean?
That
But,
movie was ridiculous.
and they got Michael Caine to do it. They must have been a good paycheck, is all I'm saying.
I think he did an interview where he was basically like, I've never seen the music. Let's see if I can do a Michael Caine.
Do it.
I've always learned you can do a Michael Caine impression by saying, Michael Caine, I'm Michael Caine. I didn't see the movie. I did it
That's
for a paycheck. Yeah, you just say my cocaine, and that's my
Michael
cocaine.
Caine. Michael Caine.
Yeah, you say my cocaine, and that's how he says Michael Caine.
That's pretty good.
I'm Michael Caine, and I did Jaws for the paycheck.
That's pretty
That's how I
damn
get into
good.
that.
I'm okay with that. But so love sharks, went cage diving actually. I'd always wanted to do it. And then there was one day I ran into Dean Del Rey. I'm sure you know Dean.
I know,
And
Dean.
and he had done it. And so he showed me this footage of these great white sharks underwater. And I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever. So I finally was like doing it. So I went and I did it. And I wound up on a boat with a bunch of scientists as well, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
And also, like this group, it was like a shark advocate group who was basically trying to say, listen, the media needs to do better when it comes to animals.
Yeah.
So they showed us a clip of a shark with the scary music and then a dolphin with this like pretty ukulele music. And then they switched them. And all of a sudden, the dolphin was kind of scary, and the shark
Yeah.
was like, do, I'm just having a good time.
Right.
Music.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Because the music tells you this is how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah. It elicits an emotion from you, and in this case, it's a scary emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But there's also been times where lack of music. The first thing that popped up to mind, did you see the Dahmer series?
No, the one on Netflix?
Ryan Murphy one?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
That I've seen a ton of horror films, I've seen a ton of true crime, all that. I've seen it, but that one was extremely hard to watch,
Really?
extremely hard to get through. And I think because obviously the acting was amazing. It's an insanely dark, horrific story, but it was done in such a realistic, gritty, dark way without music. And so you
Really?
felt like you were in that apartment and you knew something that the victim didn't know. You knew what this guy was. You knew he was a monster, but the victim didn't. And you're just watching them like, and you're just, it just became so real that I had to watch it in like 20-minute
So there's no
increments.
score to that, or is
I
it
don't know if
just
there being any music. I don't know if there,
really?
I just think maybe there were certain parts or certain scenes that they left just quiet and uncomfortable.
Yeah, and psychologically, that's a mind f because like you're expecting, like the cello and the violins and like that thing to lead up to it. But when it's quiet, I was just talking to Raphael Chastain, who was just on the show recently, and he was talking about like when he was a kid, he hated coming home to an empty house and there not being any music or any sound or any noise like that because it felt like it was an empty environment and he felt more comfortable like just knowing there's something going on in the background, and that's why he
Yeah.
always had music going on. How important is music in your life? Like, is it a thing that you got to have all the time, or is it just it's there when it's there?
Yeah, no, it's always been extremely important. And I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but before I got into stand-up, I actually was making documentaries on music.
Really?
Um, yeah, so basically, music is 100% therapeutic. We use it to get through hard times. We use it to embrace good times. Oftentimes when you have a memory that's like really locked in your brain because it had a huge emotional impact on you, there's a song associated with it a lot.
Mhm.
So basically, when my dad passed away when I was 22, my way of dealing was music. I happened to have tickets for Coachella, which was the last time I went. I'm good. I've experienced it. Like, I'm cool. Um, Went to Coachella and well, I wasn't going to go. So my dad passed like, I don't know, a week before. And I said, well, I'm not going. I'm
Hmm.
just going to sit in a hole. And,
Right.
my friends were like, are you insane?
Right.
Go. You're going. We're driving you. So I went and it was just this like insane experience because my emotions were so heightened and so raw and I was looking at life in such a new different way that I had never seen. My whole world had changed.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, what that's like when someone that you love very, very much is gone, your life is forever changed as well.
Yeah.
So you're adapting and you're like, what do I do? And so listening to all these musicians, the two people that I really wanted to see were Imogen Heap. Do you know Imogen?
No.
British. Garden State. Did you see the
Oh yeah,
movie
yeah,
Garden?
yeah. I remember
Frou Frou.
Garden State.
So her and Guy are Frou Frou. The
Okay.
song "Let Go." That was like the big song that when they kiss at the end in
Right.
the airport. That's the song. So
Spoilers.
Imogen,
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the movie
you
that
know
came
what,
out
y'all,
20 years ago.
get over it. Get
Zach
over it.
Braff was super famous at the time, so that's how long it was.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a way to put it. Sorry, Zach. He's doing fine. He's fine.
He's got that T-Mobile money.
Yeah, he's good.
He's
He's
good.
those commercials were so silly, but he's making bank off it,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure. But anyway, so long story short, it was just like super amazing and I just felt super connected to Imogen's music. I remember She Wants Revenge played and I just like I was lost in my own world, particularly to them. I don't know. It's an experience I'll remember forever. But I started just kind of I don't want to say avoiding my feelings, but distracting myself with concerts because I
Hmm.
felt good when I was at concerts, right? So I kept going. And then when Imogen announced her full North American tour, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go on a few and maybe I'll do like a vlog. Remember when vlogs were a thing? Not even vlog.
Yep.
Um, but my friend that I was going to shows with, she's like, well, I'm going to go to every single show. I said, I'm sorry. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go to every single one. I said, okay, well, I can't let you outdo me. So and she went to film school. She had like a editing background. That's what she wanted to do. I was more the creative. So we bought some equipment with the one like big commercial I ever booked as an actor. I made some money off it. So I bought a camera, I bought some microphones and just said, F it, let's get in the car and go. And then when we showed up in Canada, actually, to Imogen's first show, I'd kind of made friends with this amazing cellist named Zoe Keating, who had opened for Imi before. Uh, please check her out. Zoe Keating, phenomenal. She plays the cello, but she layers it. So it sounds like there's 16 cellos at the
Oh
end of the
wow.
track. It's beautiful. And she does it live
Does
too.
she use a like a looper pedal?
Yeah.
One of those? Yeah,
She
yeah.
does. Yeah, yeah. So she's stunning. But anyway, so Zoe had mentioned it to Imogen. So when we showed up in Canada, she found us, was like, "Oh my God, what are you guys doing? This is so exciting. Are you really coming?" Like she was so nice and so supportive and so kind to us and let us interview her and all the crew and the other bands. And so we followed her for a while, and then we got back and realized, oh, we need some more footage to make a feature. So we just started reaching out to other bands and just following bands, and we put this together and it's called Map the Music. And yeah, and I wound up hooking up with this amazing guy called Zach Nadel is his name from Hello, My Name Is Records.
Okay.
So in like an indie New York record label guy, I released it through his label and we made like, I don't know, a couple thousand DVDs, sold them out, didn't make any more. And then it wound up on the documentary channel, which is kind of
Oh,
cool.
that's pretty awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Would you say that you are a musical person? Like, do you play music at all, or do you sing, or?
Oh, I wanted to be. Oh, I wanted to be so bad. But I realized that I'm not meant to play music. I feel like if I had a genie and a lamp, one of my wishes would be to be able to sing because I think about what that must feel like to be able to release that much emotion through song, through music, and actually have it sound good. That's got to be pretty cool. But in middle school, I was in the band in the middle school. I played um, baritone. I don't know why I got that idea. I played baritone and then I moved to tenor sax and then I moved to flute. and I stuck with the flute for
So
the
you just kept
longest.
going higher and
Yeah,
higher on the register.
I was a little slutty for music for instruments. I just kept going up. Piccolo too. I dabbled with a little piccolo, and I really liked the flute. I really enjoyed it. But and actually, I inherited a piano, like a baby grand, at some point, and so I kind of taught myself because I could read music decently.
Mhm.
I taught myself, the basic chords and could play easy songs.
Right.
Um, but I think my brain doesn't do math.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to keep count and to okay, it's a quarter note, it's an eighth note. Like my brain would hear all those numbers and just shut down.
Oh yeah. I
So
mean,
I don't
as
think
an Asian, I'm not good at math, which is why I'm a mediocre guitarist at best.
I'm sure you're not mediocre
I
with
am.
all of you're Asian. You're also way too hard on yourself.
This is true. This is also true. So, not being a singer per se, do you do karaoke at all? Do you have a go-to karaoke
Hell
song?
no. No. No, I have a theory that I was a singer in a past life and they hated me and I got stoned to death or something because I have this abnormal fear of karaoke. Like I would have to be so utterly hammered to get anywhere near a karaoke microphone. People are like, but you do stand up. I'm like, I don't sing. I talk. Different,
It's true. That's true.
different, totally different.
So, the last time you got hammered and did karaoke, what song did you do?
Never. I don't think I've ever done it.
Oh,
Ever.
really?
Yeah. I think the only time I remember like willingly going to a karaoke bar, it was only because I loved the birthday girl. It was Jessica Michelle Singleton, if you know
I
her,
do.
and Nicole Amy Schreiber. And so, and they're just like such fun, wonderful spirits that they were like, yeah, let's have fun. And I'm just sitting there all awkwardly, like, no, you guys go again. No, 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 you guys go again. Really, I'm fine. And I just prayed that they didn't notice that I hadn't actually gone up.
Hmm.
I can't. I might have gone up and done a song, but I might have also blocked it out of my memory. I couldn't tell you. But if I were to have to do a karaoke song, I'd probably do like Fiona Apple.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I could sound
Hmm.
decent in that register, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. What is the weirdest shuffle you've had on your phone? Like you were listening to one thing and you were grooving, and then the phone shuffles, and you're like, "Oh no!"
Oh, I go from Rob Zombie to Disney all the
Oh,
time.
really?
It'll be like Dragula to Hakuna Matata. Oh yeah. Completely. I feel like horror and Disney, there's a crossover in fandoms. It's even like when you go to the horror conventions or even like Comic Cons, the kind of more comic book ones,
Hmm.
there's always horror themed princesses. There's always some sort of crossover where it's like, okay, this is Jason, except it's actually Sleeping Beauty. Like they it's cool and I love that kind of stuff. I have tons of it on my refrigerator. I have all the magnets and the postcards of all that stuff because people get creative and it's fun.
Why do you think there's a crossover so much like that?
Oh no, that's a great question.
Is it the fantasy of it? Like you have the fantasy realm of princes and princesses and dragons and things like that, and it just
Escapism of it,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would imagine that a lot of horror fans maybe had more challenging childhoods sometimes, maybe went through some traumas where it was like kind of led you to heavier, scarier movies where it's like you can process your own shit by watching a scary movie and know that, oh, I'm going to watch this really scary thing, but I'm going to be safe at the end of it.
Hmm.
That might be part of it. Um, I don't know. I was just never really interested in like Barbies and like flowery shit. I was like, no, I want to give me some killer clowns. Let's go. And with Disney, I think a lot of horror fans oftentimes obviously we prefer the villains because they have so much personality and they're so fun. I mean, like Scar from The Lion King is horrible character. Horrible, horrible. Does bad things. However, it's Jeremy Irons and he's just Jeremy Irons. Like I love Scar so much.
What did you think
Um,
about the live action um, Lion King?
Mufasa or Lion Oh, Lion King was bad. Sorry. Sorry. Disney's had a rough go of it lately with the live actions.
Yeah.
Really rough go of it. Like really, let's not even talk about Snow White. I mean, controversy aside, it just was a bad movie. It was just like there were too many cooks in the kitchen. It was like really bad community theater. I'm sorry. And I love Snow White so much. And I grew up, Snow White, I have a super special place in my heart for because my mom and I really love that ride. We
Mm.
always went on Snow White together when we went to Disney. Um, I think for me personally, the answer to what the correlation is I grew up on Disney and horror, and it reminds me of the good parts of my childhood. It makes me feel closer to my parents. Um, like and I love the Disney villains, even as a kid.
They
My
always had the
favorite.
best music too. The Disney
Oh
villains
yeah.
always had the best theme songs and soundtracks behind them.
Yeah, 100%. But I also, I of course love the Disney princesses, but when it comes to like regular movies, I'm like, I don't really care about the sweet, cutesy, girly ingenue. I'm not that interested. But I do like the Disney princesses. So I don't know. I'm weird. I don't know what to tell you. Um, but so the Lion King, it just didn't work. I feel like when they're trying to do the exact movie just in a live version setting, it just doesn't it's like we've already done it and you're not doing it as good as the original, so just do something different,
Right.
and
Yeah, yeah.
some of the casting wasn't my favorite. The one thing that Disney does is they do the stunt casting where they're like, let's just pull whatever big celebrity has an Instagram following and can sell tickets, as opposed to, oh well, maybe this person's actually better for the role, you know
I was having
and I
a
don't.
similar conversation about comedians just the other day.
You don't say. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it. It's a business. They want to make money. They're spending billions of dollars on this stuff. I understand. But it doesn't make a good movie. Don't you want to make a good movie?
No,
Um,
because these companies are not
no.
about the art anymore. It's about the profits and the shareholders and
Right.
the infinite growth, the exponential infinite growth, which is completely unsustainable. So they don't care about the artistic nature of the product anymore. It's
Yeah.
IP. It's how they make money, and they
Yeah.
got to recruit the $7 billion they spent for on Star Wars or whatever it is they spent a ridiculous amount of money on. So
Right.
it's
Right.
it's not about the artistic nature of the thing. I know when the whole controversy with Snow White happened, my girlfriend was like, "So what do you think about this?" And I just went, "I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not a Disney kid.
Yeah.
I get it. Like I just don't care. I don't care about any of it. Like the original, the new version. It's fine.
That's
Whatever.
fair. That's totally fair. My first thing was like, wait, they're gonna let Gal Gadot sing? Why? She's not a singer. Oh my God. What are you doing? Like yeah, and like even the gal from Harry Potter, Emma
Emma
Watson,
Watson. Yeah.
she's sweet and lovely, but she's not a singer. Why are you putting her in a singing role as Belle? You could have the movie itself is the star. You don't need that. You could have gotten someone that was really right for the role and could
Mhm.
really sing. And so I don't know. It just kind of missed for me. The only live action Disney ones, I thought Mulan was really amazing, the live action one. I actually like Lady and the Tramp, shockingly. Mufasa wasn't bad. I would say Mufasa wasn't bad because I enjoyed the origin story of it. It
Mhm.
was a new story. So I liked seeing how Mufasa became Mufasa, how Sarabi became Sarabi. Like I enjoyed it. Um, but a film like Cruella was amazing. Like Emma Watson and Emma Thompson, they killed it.
Right.
It was so fashion and art. It was so creative the way they did it. And they weren't just redoing a story that we've already seen.
Yeah.
They were giving us how Cruella became Cruella. And I thought that was great. I really liked it. There's a visitor.
Is
It's a
that the new
baby.
baby?
It's Tiger Lily.
Oh, hello, Tiger Lily.
Actually, speaking of Disney and horror, so it's Tiger Lily Munster is her full name. So she's technically a Disney character and a horror character. I win.
My cat is named Mario Curtis Booger Armstrong Tran.
Booger. I love it.
He
I don't
has.
know why cats have like seven names. They all have seven
Oh
names.
yeah, every single one of my cats is apparently Latina and Catholic because they have at least 5 or 6 names.
Love it.
And Mario's had an upper respiratory infection since I had him. So he sneezes literally. I found a booger 4 feet up the wall on the stairs, where the closest stair that he could have possibly been on was, I don't know, 4.5 feet away, and just like
That's some
flung it up on
exorcist
the wall.
shit right there.
Yeah, that was a little out of control. Let's talk about comedy and music. When you think comedy and music, who's the first person you think of? Who's the first artist or music or comedian you think of?
Um, you know what? My friend Scott Bluegrind, who runs my tech for Horror Nerd, actually, he is an amazing guitarist, and he's just this kind of like, big personality, goofy, fun, warm guy who sings these song parodies. And so every time, so for Horror Nerd that we do at the Hollywood Improv once a month, every show has a theme. So, like we'll do vampires, slashers, ghosts, whatever it is. So he will write a song about characters from that genre, and it's pretty cool. And like we're doing this club in Palmdale that's like mostly a music venue, and there's big screens, and that it's kind of like a punk rock vibe kind of following.
Is it
So
is it a
transplant,
brewery?
yeah, it's a brewery.
What's the name of it? I
Transplant,
think
transplants.
I've played that place.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
I've never been there. So I'm really excited to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Um, But I was like, I gotta have Scott on there because he can shred his guitar and they'll eat it up.
Do you
Yeah.
have a do you have a walk-on song? Do you a specific song you'd like to go up on stage to?
Like for a horror nerd or for regular
Just
shows?
in general, like as a comedian, when you're going up to do a spot, whether it's
Yeah.
just a regular spot or it's horror nerd. And that leads me to the next question. Like, is it important does the song change depending on your vibe or like what show you're doing?
Yeah, true. Um, so like at Flappers, for example, he'll always ask me, okay, I know it's one or the other. Do you want Stevie Nicks or Rob Zombie? Those are my two go-tos usually. Because we cheat a little bit. Shocking, sorry, we cheat a little bit. So I have jokes for about both of them.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I know that oh, you just happen to bring me up to this song. Here's this joke that I know works,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, I think whenever I'm like my pump up music is definitely like metal, zombie, Ice Nine Kills. Yeah, yeah. And I think actually, if you've never heard of this band called Ice Nine Kills, Spencer Sharness is a friend of ours, and we have a podcast called Horror Nerds Podcast. We use his music as our opening
Nice.
music. And he's a genius, and he's basically uh he's like horror metal. That it's kind of like the next Rob Zombie in a way, but he's doing is so unique in his own way. Where he writes songs about films. So there's like a super cool song about that's obviously Norman Bates. There's one that's obviously Chucky. There's one that's, Pet Cemetery. And he actually did the song for Terrifier 3,
Oh wow.
which is really cool. And we actually got to go down on set and watch them film the music video. So I got to hang out all day with the actual Art the Clown and just watch him kill people and just shoot the in between takes.
You must have been losing your mind. That sounds
Oh,
like
it was amazing. It was such an incredible day, and the amount of people from the horror community that showed up just to be there for that experience. I mean, pretty cool. Like you had the VP from Blumhouse, you had an Academy Award winning special effects artist there. You had like everyone was there. Like, I just want to be here.
mhm.
And his music brought all of these horror icons together. Music.
I imagine the actor who did Art the Clown not as a method actor kind of person, and like in my head he's slashing throats, and then they call cut, and he's like, "Can I get a donut?"
Oh, yeah. He's so funny. He's just such a funny, weird, silly guy. He was hanging with all of us. And actually, I got to put this great bit in my set and it's just a true story of how in between takes, I was standing, I didn't realize it was his dressing room. I was standing right outside of it talking to some people. And I was just commenting on the room, like where the band was playing. It was just really hot in there because obviously they have to turn off the AC while they're filming.
Uh-huh.
Totally get it.
Right.
But I was just like, oh my God, you guys, that room was rather moist. Out of nowhere, Art the Clown in full blood teeth, everything pops just his head out and says, moist. Like he fucked with me so it was so funny. It was so extremely funny. We all laughed, and then many, many months later, she just got spayed. That's why she's wearing her little onesie. But many,
I
many
love that
months,
she just climbed up behind you.
she's already a camera loving little superstar, aren't you, Lily? Aren't you? Yeah, come here. So I ran into David at a horror convention, and I walked up to his team and I was like, "Hey, I got to spend a day on set with him. Would it be?" And they were so nice, and I was like, "Oh, they believe me. That's great because I'm actually telling the truth." And they let me walk right up, and I know, and he's met so many people, so he's looking at me. He's like, I know her. I know her." And I just said, "Hey, David, moist." And then we both just start cackling. And that was a really fun, cool moment that I'll have forever.
Nice. How similar do you think comedy and music are to each other, or are they not?
I think that joke writing, especially, it's similar to music. There is a musicality to joke writing. You have to put the notes together in the proper way, or the flow is off. Um, like there's an example that I used to use when I was teaching people how to write jokes. Is so there's this one girl, and I remember taking a class with her when I first started many, many years ago. She wrote this joke about how white kids in scary movies are creepy. And it was a comedy comes in threes. And the punchline was, Children of the Corn, Village of the Damned, Kindergarten Cop, it was a great joke, just simple, easy, super funny,
Right.
unexpected. It crushed. It worked every time she did it. She got a little cocky with it, just expected it to work every time. And one day she said, Children of the Corn, Village of the Dam, hell, Kindergarten Cop. And it didn't work. The rhythm was off, the
Yep.
musicality was off.
Yeah, I realized that one time early in my career, I did a show, and I did the same joke first show and second show, and I switched two words in a setup. Wasn't even the punchline, and they were nothing words. They meant, for all intents and purposes, it could have been the and but. They weren't those words, but it was as pointless as those words are to the joke, and the joke didn't work. And
Yep.
that's the first time I realized, oh, there's a real rhythm to this, which is weird. Like, as a musician, I should have understood that. But that's the first time I realized that, oh yeah, it's definitely, they say timing is everything in comedy. And that's what rhythm is. It's timing.
100%. Do you think that you can teach timing, or do you think it's just an innate skill?
I mean, just like music, there are some people who have it, are born
Yeah.
with it, and
Yeah.
some people can have it beat into them.
Yeah, they just have to work
Yeah.
and make mistakes enough.
Yeah. I mean, as a musician myself, like, I wasn't born with, like, my sister was born with it. Like, I have a grandma that taught piano, but like,
That's
as
cool.
a guitarist, I don't know. I'm not that. I like. I think it's the math of it. You know, I'm more of the emotion of songwriting and comedy writing and joke writing. And I think that's a problem for me, because I'm so emotionally attached to what I'm creating, whether it's comedy or music. I have a hard time letting it go, because, especially if it's a joke I'm so proud of or a song I'm so proud of. I think I grew up in a time in comedy when, like, joke theft was absolutely, that was the worst thing you could do now. And now it's like,
It's horrible how many stories you hear now about people stealing jokes. You're like, wait, are we just doing that now? I thought that was rule number one. Don't
yeah.
steal.
I mean, look at, I'm sure it's a passe joke at this point, but, I feel bad for Milli Vanilli and those guys, because lip syncing destroyed whatever career they had, and now people build entire TikTok careers on lip syncing to other people's music or comedy. Like, how do you feel about people who lip sync to stand up comedy and then put it up on TikTok?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, because first of all, I think I'm the one person on the planet who's like, for my own mental health, I'm drawing a line at TikTok.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we have it for our podcast, but thank goodness my co-host Bonnie Williams, who's amazing, has a higher tolerance than I do. So she schedules all of our stuff. But it's just people who just want instant gratification of fame and views and numbers. They want that dopamine hit as opposed to, I'm going to create art. I'm going to create
Yeah.
something that justifies people watching it and liking it.
Right.
Just, oh, this already works. So I'm just going to put my face over it and hope that I go viral. Like, come on, guys, be better. Um, but I
Be
will
better.
say, be better. But I will say, so I also was raised in the world of drag. I got really strong as a comic. I worked a lot of drag clubs. So I actually still run a drag show
What
over.
is that like? Tell me about that. Running
It's
a
a
like a drag show.
You think comics have big personalities? Try drag queens. Try wrangling drag queens. They are phenomenal magical creatures who are just larger than life. I mean, but it's like comics. There's so many different styles of drag and there's so many different personalities and art forms to it. Some of them are incredible singers and perform live. Some of them are insanely trained dancers and it's amazing what they could do. Some of them are stand-ups. I mean, you look at Bob the Drag Queen, you look at Bianca Del Rio, they're amazing. Their timing, like they have it. They have that it factor, that timing. Those are two performers that do. But so lip syncing is what you do in clubs. Like a drag show, basically how it works is each girl will lip sync to a song. And then they get tips. They basically work the room, they dance, they do whatever it is that they want to do. Because everyone has different dancing styles and song styles. But how I got into the world of drag actually was I wanted to interview a drag queen for my documentary on how she chooses her music and how it affects the audience. How do different styles of music do you like get more energy going? Do you find like what are you more emotionally attached to? So that's how I got into the world of drag. But the thing that is I think different than TikTok what they're doing with lip syncs is they're creating an entire character who's lip syncing that song.
Hmm.
Their outfit, their look, their makeup, the way they move, like it's all thought out. And
Right.
so it's really cool to see, oh, well, I want to do this song. I need a look just for this song. So in a way, they're like paying respects to that musician by saying, like, I want this to feel like this is what this song is.
Hmm.
And there's also queens who are incredible impersonators. I mean, like my friend Glenn Allen is one of the best, if not the best, Bette Midler impersonators. My friend Chad Michaels is the best Cher, and they genuinely love their music, and their music has changed their life, and they, honor and respect those divas every time they perform. It's fabulous.
Have you ever done drag? Is that a thing you thought about?
I think I'm too lazy for that. And I can't walk in a heel, to tell you the truth. Like, I literally can't. I have bulging discs in my back. I think I would cry. I would like just start screaming, crying if I wore anything that those girls wear. And usually, so I've stage managed drag shows for a long time, and I'm chasing them around and running the music
Hmm.
and picking up dollars. I need tennis shoes for that. And also, they look so beautiful in makeup. Why am I going to compete with that? Let them do the work. Meh.
But as a woman to do drag, you would dress up as a guy because I have a friend from back home, a female friend who does drag shows, and she dresses up like I think what was the last thing she dressed up as? Sexy Squidward,
Love it.
and
So she's the drag king.
yeah,
She
I guess so.
performs as a
Yeah, yeah.
male. So she has a male character.
She has several. And like
Amazing.
every show is she does something different. She picks a different
Right, but
theme.
does she have a drag king name? Like, does she have a,
No, I don't think she's that much into it. I mean, she does it for
uh,
fun. Like they do fundraisers, and she just,
yeah,
she
yeah.
does it for fun.
'Cause it's really cool how diverse the world is when it comes to that because like my favorite drag king by far is Landon Cider. Get it? Landon Cider. Um, so Landon actually won Dragula. So Dragula is the horror version of RuPaul's Drag Race. And so as a drag king, and so she is a woman, lives as a woman. She's a lesbian, married to a woman. She's beautiful, wonderful. Her character, Landon Cider. So she plays all these different male characters, different horror characters. Like it's really cool. Um, so yes, you would say he when you're referring to Landon Cider
Hmm.
in drag.
Okay.
Uh, But there are women. There are definitely biological women who also perform as drag queens, and they're called bio queens. They're women. They're cis women. They live as women, but they do it for the art, and they do it, for performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would your drag king name be if you had to pick one? And have you already thought about this numerous times? Because I feel
I
like you
have
have.
not. I have actually not, to tell you the truth. This is a new one. I mean,
And what would your song be?
my first stupid thing, I'd be like, Sir wears no heels. I don't know. I'd be like Sir Flats. I'd be like Tom Flat instead of Tom Cat, Tom Flat. I don't know. No, I don't know what my drag king name would be, but obviously if I were gonna do drag king, I'd probably want to do horror characters,
Okay.
want to do, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to think about the first one I would do. I would love to do like a Bella Lugosi.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
not a vampire, like the vampire, which is
Right.
Bella. Yeah.
Oh, and Bella Lugosi.
Yeah.
So, like, Bella from, wait, it's Belle from,
Oh, Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
yeah, yeah. I'm not a
Yeah.
Disney
Oh,
kid.
close. That could work.
I try.
Sure.
What's
Why?
what's the worst song you've ever been brought up on stage to? Have you ever like been in a situation where they're like, "What do you want me to play?" and you're like, "Whatever," and then they play whatever.
Uh, what was it? Like some like really kick-ass rap song. I can't remember what it was, but it was like something with just like this really cool beat. It was really like fast and energetic. I couldn't remember what it was. I'm like, I am not cool enough for this. I can't even pretend to know how to fucking, I don't twerk. What do you want me to do? I'm a horror weird white girl. What do you want me to do? Like, I can't remember what song it was, but like if you were to put up some like Chronic 2001 Dr. Dre, fuck yeah, I
Yeah.
was raised on that.
Yep. Especially as
Um,
an LA girl.
yeah, oh God, completely. That was like my first job was a warehouse records. And I remember my manager, it was like when you could first burn CDs. He came in one day, he burned all of us a copy of Chronic 2001. We were like, no way! It was the greatest day ever. We were so excited. Yeah, it was cool.
Never mind all that pesky copyright stuff.
Yeah, we all wound up quitting anyway.
What was that, a local music store? Because I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, warehouse. No, it was a chain.
Okay.
Warehouse, like it was like a Sam Goody or a Tower
Okay.
Record.
We didn't have those on the East Coast. I can't remember having those on the, like, we had Sam Goody and
It
we
was
had
like
like
a Sam Goody.
Tower
Yeah.
Records, but I'd never heard of Warehouse Records. Have
I
you?
still I still miss Tower Records, the one
Yeah,
on
I think we all
Sunset.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever opened for a band? And would you?
Actually, a funny story is the first paid gig I ever had. I was maybe a year and a half into comedy, 2 years. So not ready at all to be working a ballroom in San Francisco.
A
But this
ballroom?
guy, a ballroom, a big, huge ballroom, and it was for a women in music event. So, I mean, it was really amazing, but the thing was, the guy like doesn't really understand how comedy and music are different,
Hmm.
right? So he hired me, and I'm like, oh my God, of course I can do it. I can do 20 minutes. I didn't have 20 minutes at all. So I'm like panicking, trying to write musical jokes and this and that. And so I come up with technically 20 minutes. So I do it, and it was really hard because I was the MC of this festival, and it was like me and three bands.
Hmm.
And so I do my set, and no one's there yet because it's so early. And there's like no one there, and the people who are there are on the far end of the ballroom. They're listening, but I can't. I can barely see them. They're so far away. Like it was, I suffered, right? But I got through it. I think I did as best as I could have in that situation. I think I did pretty okay. Um, and then so I'm so relieved. I'm like, oh, thank God, I can just listen to the bands now. And then the producer booker guy comes up to me. He's like, oh, uh, I didn't know that this other band has a big setup. They have to change out a drum kit and change out some amps. Can you go do another 20? And I was like, no.
That is horrifying.
I was like shit myself. I didn't know what to do, but thank goodness I came up with the idea. I said, well, you know what? How about this? I have a better idea. Of course I can, but I have a better idea. Why don't we do a Q&A, and I tell him about my documentary, and then we talk about the power of music. He's like, oh, that's great. Thank God. So I just did a Q&A and talked to people, like basically kind of the type of interview stuff that I did for my documentary anyway. So I was good with that. And that went over very well. And the coolest thing that came out of that evening, so the band that was, oh, I think it was just Gretchen. I heard this one of the best guitarists I've ever met or seen. Speaking of Disney, she looks like Ariel. She's stunningly beautiful, but also who cares? She's one of the best guitarists you'll
Mhm.
ever see. She's phenomenal. Her name's Gretchen Menn. She's in a Zeppelin tribute band called Zepparella. They tour regularly. They're phenomenal. They're so good. But she's a solo artist, and so she was a headliner. So I start talking to Gretchen, and we hit it off because she's just such a nice person. And the bookers somehow brought up, oh, well, Samantha's grandpa was in Robin Hood. I don't know why he brought that up. That's why the book is behind me, the Errol Flynn book. And Gretchen's like, "Oh, um, my great uncle was in that movie." I said, "No way." She said, "Well, who was your grandfather?" I said, "Well, my great grandfather played Little John in Robin Hood." She said, "My great uncle played the father. Oh my God, what's his name? Why am I Friar Tuck?
Oh,
Friar Tuck
wow.
played Friar Tuck." And I was like, "Wait, what? Our family had a log fight? That's insane." So that was just a really cool moment. And then sometimes comedy ties everything together because I wound up opening for Tom Arnold. Craig Shoemaker was kind enough to have me open for Tom Arnold at the Calabasas Country Club where they actually filmed Robin Hood.
That's
Crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, small world.
That's Kismet. Did I use that
Yeah,
right? Kismet? That's a
it is.
okay.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. What's your
Yeah.
worst bomb on stage?
Oh, I know exactly. Uh, Again, about 2 years into comedy or so. Because when you get to the 2 year mark, you get a little cocky. You think, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to do all new material every show because I have to.
Yeah.
Girl, you're 2 years in.
Yeah.
Everything is new. What are you talking about?
There's a lot of that in this town.
So much of it where people are filming their hour specials like 4 years into comedy. I'm like, well, okay. Or 2 years into comedy. Okay. Um, but so I wound up on the
Someone the other night had a told me, well, they had a credit that was like they just released their first album, and I was like, haven't you been doing this 6 months? Yeah.
there really is an instant gratification
Yeah.
culture happening. And it's just like, I'm sorry, you want to be a surgeon? You're not going to operate for a while.
Yeah.
You want to get good and learn how to do it before you have a body in front of you.
Yep.
I tried to record my first album 5 years in, and thank goodness it didn't work out. I'm so grateful. I am so, because I was not ready. I didn't have that material.
Right.
I thought I did, but I sure shit didn't. Basically, I got booked on my first feature weekend, super excited, um, and in Louisville, Kentucky, and they booked me on the same weekend as the Thunder Over Louisville Festival, meaning that it was this big party before the Derby, so no one was there. We couldn't.
Right.
Thank goodness, because I wasn't ready, and I didn't wasn't. Thank goodness. But anyway, so worst bomb, I wound up, but 2 years in, I wound up on an alumni showcase with Pretty Funny Women, which is where I started many, many years ago. I took a class and stuck with it. And I wound up, she was gracious enough to, Lisa Sunset is her name, was gracious enough to give me a spot on an alumni showcase. And it was me and Zainab Johnson were the two students. And just all these powerhouse hitters like Trish Sir, Sean Polofsky, Maria Bamford, Retta, Tig Notaro. So I'm already quite nervous. And we go to dinner beforehand, which was a huge mistake because all of these incredibly wonderful women have known each other for many, many years. So they're just laughing and shooting the shit. I'm sitting there like a mouse. I'm so like, I don't belong here. And I'll never forget it. Maria Bamford came and sat next to me and said, "Hey, what's your name?" And was so kind and just knew that I needed help and was so sweet. So we go over to the show at the Comedy Union, which I don't even think is there anymore.
I don't think
It's
it
gone,
is
right?
on Pico, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
gone,
gone.
right?
I think it's gone.
So we go over there, and lineups are done in a very specific way to shape them and make sure that people can follow each other and all that stuff.
They're
The last
supposed to be done in a
was
certain way.
supposed to be done in a certain way, but then sometimes, like last night, we were literally doing musical spots. We're like, "Oh, I don't know, let's just choose."
Well, you missed it. When let's see, I was supposed to go first after the two hosts, and then
And you swapped with Forrest
I
Shaw?
yeah, Forrest was like, I have to go. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't care.
Yeah,
And then
sure.
we just like nobody knew who
No.
was there, who was around, and we just
Who was checking
yeah, yeah.
in, and then like I was supposed to go last, and then Dana was like fourth. Dana Moon was like fourth, and then but she like was just getting in there. She's like, oh, I just need a minute to prep. Can I don't want to go now. Like, can I just need like a minute. And I was like, well, I will take. And then I felt bad because I felt like, oh no, did I just cut other people? And I was like, I'm sorry. We were all being so polite to each
Yeah.
other. It was kind of funny. But anyway, so at the last minute, Maria is like, oh, I have another gig, I have to go first. And then Tig is like, yeah, I gotta go after Maria. And for some reason, I wound up Maria, Tig.
Oh my God.
I ate so hard. I did all the rookie mistakes. I tried to pace the stage to make it look like I was a badass. I did all new material. I played this like idea of what a comic would be because I was trying to keep up with them. And I bombed so hard. I didn't get out of bed for 2 days.
Oh my God.
I wanted to quit so hard. I should have got up on stage
Right.
immediately. But, and I remember like Lisa was so sweet about it. She's like, "Okay, well what didn't you think worked?" I'm like,
What did you think worked?
she was trying to because she knew that I was like already beating myself up. Now all these years later, it's like if I have a bad set, I'm like, life goes on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll fix it. I don't
Right.
know, I'll fix it. But back then it was like your world would be shattered if not everyone liked you.
Yeah. Is there any music that can bring you up when you have a night like that? Like, do you get in the car and go, all right, I got to listen to something so I don't drive off a cliff?
Yeah, I would probably put something on to maybe calm me down. Maybe some Stevie Nicks might do it. Like not the popular songs, like
Okay.
not the hits, but like the more like hidden gems.
Yeah, the B-sides.
Yeah, the B-sides or like the songs that were never singles.
Right.
Sometimes, yeah, I would say Stevie probably.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to wrap up shortly. I'm going to do something new with you.
Yeah, ooh.
This is a game I've been playing with comics at comedy clubs, while we're sitting around doing stuff.
Nice.
But I'm going to start. I'm going to start making my guests do this. It's called "Finish That Theme Song."
Thank God, as long as you're not making me sing it.
You might have to sing it, but
No. Okay.
I'm going to give you the lyrics to a famous theme song, and I'm going to give you the first two lines of a famous theme song, and then you try to finish as much as you can. And if you can't, be funny about it.
No pressure.
No
Singing
pressure.
myself.
All right, we'll start with something easy. In West Philadelphia, born and raised.
On the playground where I spent most of my days chilling out, maxing out. I can sing it like every word if it's going, but I grew up on that
All
show.
right.
Oh, I love me some Fresh Prince.
All
Are you
right.
kidding?
Cool. All right. Next
Thank you
one.
for the easy one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, they progressively get harder. Don't you
Oh no.
worry.
Okay, great.
This one's actually pretty easy as well. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend. I honestly thought that was Bea Arthur behind you.
It is Bea
There's
Arthur behind me.
It is Bea Arthur. Okay, I
Yeah.
was like, is Bea Arthur behind you?
Yeah.
I love Golden Girls. I love
It's in
it.
my rider.
Oh my God, I
In
love that.
in my rider, I require a bowl of only green M&Ms, a black and white photo of Bea Arthur, 10 minutes of silence. Yeah, that's in my rider. So that's why I
Oh, I
have.
like the silence part. That's clever.
Yeah.
Wait, have you ever heard my B. Arthur joke? That's just a true story.
No.
Yeah, so I have a joke, but it's just a true story. So the true story is so my great aunt was the script supervisor and did like all this cool. She was the Alan Hale, the skipper, his
Mhm.
sister.
Yeah.
That was my great aunt Karen.
Okay.
So we used to have this big, beautiful house behind the Chinese theater, like up in the outpost, like one of those old. I think about that house every day, and I cry every day that it's not in the family anymore. I'm like, if I ever got rich and famous, that's the first thing I would do, would get that house. But so my first memory, literally my first memory, was being at that house and running around the pool, running around like the side of the building, and running right smack into this person. And I heard this booming voice of "Hello, little girl," and I started crying. I was so afraid that I hid behind my dad. It was B. Arthur.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they were friends. She was friends with my great aunt Karen, which makes sense because they're
Right.
like the same vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's
but
amazing.
Yeah, so I wish that I would have gotten to meet her again and not cried,
Oh.
but
But you
I'm
have
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure she was nice to me anyway, even though I was afraid of her.
All right, so we got the Golden Girls. All right, how about this one? Whatever happened to predictability?
Can I have another? Can I phone a friend? Can I?
I'll give you the next line. Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, the evening TV.
Oh, the milkman, the porpoise, even TV. Oh my God. Give me the next line. Is it, because I'm like, wait, is it Full House?
It is Full House.
Yeah, it is Full House.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but you don't know the next line. Okay.
No,
Everywhere you look, everywhere. Yeah,
there's the
yeah. Yeah.
da of people who need you. Like I can see it in my head. And if the words were I would know it. I would be able to sing to it, but
That's how karaoke works too.
stop. Just stop trying. It's not gonna happen.
All right. We'll end on this one, and you should. If you don't get this, I'm hanging up and I'm deleting this file. They're creepy and they're kooky.
Mysterious and ooky. They're all wait, mysterious and spooky. They're all together, kooky. The Addams family. Da-na-na-na.
D-
Da-na-na-na.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fun. Glad I got to see you last night. Always love to work with you.
Yeah, you too.
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Find me on the Instagram at the Samantha Hale. Also at Horror Nerd Comedy. There's no W. It's just horror with an H. Horror Nerd Comedy. And also, obviously, if you're listening to this amazing podcast, you like podcasts. So check out Horror Nerds, plural, podcasts where all podcasts are streaming.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I will probably see you on a show soon, probably at
Yeah, you will.
Flappers. For everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the show. Remember, new episode every Tuesday. The List Show coming back at some point, but I'm doing best of the episodes on Thursdays for a while. I'm going to be on the road a lot the next few weeks, so I'm just trying to bank a lot of these before I go. Follow us online at comedyon11pod.com. Thanks for listening, and turn the laughs up to 11.